Alright, so this video is going to be a little different than most of my other content because it's less so going to be going over something. I mean, I will be reading a tweet that is kind of the central focus of this entire conversation, but I mostly just want to have a little bit of a rant with you guys, sort of in the same style as the content creator who I'm going to be talking about primarily. That is DARKVIPERAU. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with him. He is possibly the largest Grand Theft Auto content creator. If he's not, then I'm just kind of showing my ignorance of that community here, but I'm pretty certain he's a big name in that figure at the very least, or in that community at the very least. I like his content when it comes to GTA. I think it's pretty good, but Dark Viper has had a growing negative reputation over the last couple years. Now, my first run-in with Dark Viper was watching a couple of his GTA videos, and I liked them. And then down the road, I saw a clip of his played in like a Chud Channel's video, and he was making a really dumb argument in that vid. And I didn't know who he was or like what his deal was, but I assumed that since a right-wing YouTuber was citing his clip as a source for some claim, he was probably just some right-wing weirdo. And so I like made fun of the guy in passing. He got so upset about this roughly 30-second in passing, I don't even know who this guy is, jab, that was mostly at his appearance more than anything else, ended up making a whole response video to me and sending his audience after me, in which they promptly ended up spamming in the comments, "Merryweather fleets here, bro," which is, of course, a reference to the GTA 5, where there is a sort of stand-in for the U.S. like private military corporations and mercenary groups like Blackwater, but in this it's Merryweather, you know? And so they have like a tagline when they raid a channel that he covers in a critical way. Now, his whole point and argument was against React content. Now, when I say React content, many of you honestly might be inclined to immediately agree with him and call him based. And that is what is kind of the core problem with this entire issue, is that a lot of people... React content is a little bit like AI. Generative AI, even. Or voice, like, modulating AI. I don't know what the term is for it. Where, on principle, if you ask someone, are you in favor of AI? They're very likely to say no. And if someone says they're against AI, the vast majority of people are very likely to say good, awesome. But at the same time, people don't really mean that. Like, when they say they're against AI, it's sort of shorthand for a very specific type and use case for AI. So, like, Glorb videos, where it's like the AI-generated Squidward rap videos, or like President's Gaming AI videos, like, or just like fun, like, TikToks where it's like, here are drugs addictions presented as demons by AI or something. Like, that shit's not harmful. There's no problem with it. It's not a big problem. And when people say they're against AI, they're not talking about that. They're talking about the, like, stealing of people's likeness, generative AI being used for profit that's been used and sampled off of other people's data and IP, you know? Like, you just say you're against it broadly as shorthand for more specific worst-case scenarios, right? And that's how a lot of people think about reaction content online. So when people say they're against reaction content, they're usually referring to like Sniper Wolf or like Hassan, who gets up and goes to the bathroom or makes a meal or goes out and goes to the grocery store while someone's YouTube video plays on his screen. They're usually like referring to the people who are the most blatantly just lazy, content-thieving, re-uploading creators out there. Like, the most egregious examples is what they're referring to, which are the problem that people are talking about. Obviously, most people, when they talk about reaction videos being a problem, or XQC, right? They aren't talking about, say, old-school React. Like, if you remember the React channel, like the back before they were, like, awful and no one liked them. Like, if they were still around and respected as they were back then today, I don't think anybody would be freaking out about the content that they make because it's very obvious that it's transformative reactions. Like, the format has a lot of effort put in, right? And so clearly people aren't referring to stuff like that, or like a piece-by-piece breakdown that's like, here's a 10-minute video, but the review is like an hour X long, you know? So it's like 50 minutes of commentary on top of the original video. I think most people would agree there's no problem with that. And so when Dark Viper AU began going super hard against reaction content, many people were likely to join his side of this entire situation, this drama, right off the bat, because A, he makes great Grand Theft Auto content, so it's like, you're already biased to be in his favor, right? You know? On top of that, he seems to be making, like, on a pretty agreeable side of things, right? I mean, look at Jack's Films and his recent like entire saga taking down Sniper Wolf. Unfortunately, she's still around, but you know, we give him the W on that. People are very much biased in favor of this type of criticism of that type of content, but they aren't referring to the less shameless, less lazy examples of what you could consider reaction content. Like many of you guys, when I said reaction content, he's against it, you probably thought that's based until I mentioned that it's all reaction content. Because he has literally said that if a video is a live watching of something for the first time, no matter how much commentary is added, even if it's 10 hours of commentary onto a 5-minute video, it cannot be transformative because it shows the original video in its entirety. This includes videos that are fair use criticism responses. So like my videos where I respond to say like a whole PragerU video, in his view should be banned from YouTube, taken down, and I should receive strikes for every video where even critically I have responded to the entirety of a video. Obviously, the rules of what is and isn't fair use are really loose on purpose because it's meant to be a you-know-it-when-you-see-it thing in court. But Dark Viper AU kind of leans on the lack of a solid definition for what is and isn't fair use, the fact that it errs on the side of saying some like things aren't fair use rather than being fair use in like the writing of the law. Even though it's far more generous in the actual courtroom, Dark Viper AU has been very aggressive in like his position that he is totally right about this. So much so to the point where recently a YouTuber who I don't even like, named ChudLogic, did a video where he covered Dark Viper AU's statements. Now, Dark Viper AU's entire position on this is actually quite clever, because his position that live React content is immoral, and if you engage in it, then, you know, you're proving his point or whatever. And maybe he'll go after you with YouTube's, like, strike policies. He never really says he will, but he hints that he might, you know, so you're afraid to actually cover it. And he says, but you can totally cover it if you do it in an edited format, which is, of course, nothing that any live streamer is going to do. Like, make a pre-recorded, pre-prepared, edited video just to respond to one guy. And so he's kind of put himself in a position where you can't play any clips of him on stream, because as of lately in particular, Dark Viper AU is on a DMCA spree. I may be able to find us a video that goes over this that we can react to. There's a channel called Chris the Narc that made a video that's like summarizing the situation. Hey guys, I will say, this is probably better to cover than the tweet I was going to show, because the tweet I was going to show is talking about tweets that have since been deleted that will be shown in this video, and I also don't have enough breath to continue talking nonstop for this entire segment, so I will let this play for a moment and let you guys get a little bit of the lore dump here, because I know some of you guys are definitely Dark Viper AU fans, and you're going to be inclined to disagree with me here, so let's let this video that's able to provide screenshots and evidence on the fly, way better than I can, do more of the talking than me. Also, is that a PS2 down there? That is totally a classic PlayStation 2.
Welcome back to another upload. White Mudahar here. We're going to be talking
White
about
Mudahar?
my favorite speedrunning lolcow, Dark Viper. Now,
that's
if you
an
don't
apt
know
comparison,
anything about
yeah.
Dark Viper, you're new to this channel or anything, I recommend you go and watch my previous coverage of it. I'm going to link it all in the description here for you. If you want to get caught up to all the context, Dark Viper essentially has been going on a bit of a
The video's really quiet. I'm gonna boost it. I feel like the video's audio balance levels are like really quiet. I can't like get the volume loud enough.
What's the nicest way I can say this? A meltdown. He's basically falling apart at the seams, which is really curious because
like this guy's not exaggerating. I wish I could show a Dark Viper AU clip or video, but if I do, he'll DMCA my channel. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. The guy has gotten to the point now where he has said that if he decides that you're not good faith in your criticism of him and you show a clip of him, he will DMCA you. Which means a strike on your channel. And the only way to reverse that strike is to take legal action against him. You have to challenge him in court. He knows that he can't sue and win on the grounds of, like, claiming someone's, like, hour-long response to one of his 5-minute or minute clips is not fair use. He knows he can't win if he sues someone in court for that. So instead, he issues a false DMCA, abusing YouTube's extremely broken system, and forces you into a position of having to take legal action, give him your address, your name, and this guy is actually not mentally stable. I need to be very clear here. He's not mentally stable. Let me get to the clips this guy shows, because that's what I'm mostly here for.
Updates to YouTube and continuously demanding that strike to go through until YouTube lamented because they said, man, we can't handle this autism anymore.
I got an email advising me of the copyright strike that was applied to my channel, and this copyright strike...
So, you guys know how in my last video I did covering this drama, where it was Chud Logic and Dark Viper AU and this whole lawsuit situation, like the DMCA thing? My editor, Ethan, used the quartering in the thumbnail to represent Chud Logic, and I went into VC that morning to say to him, dude, that's so funny you used the quartering for him. He really does look like the quartering, and I go on about that in the video, so that's really funny. He's like, wait, that's not him? I was like, what? No, that's the quartering used in the thumbnail. And he's like, what? And he goes and he opens up the thumbnail to look at it. He's like, this is not the same person? I was like, no, Ethan, that's the quartering, not Chud Logic. I know, they look really similar. And he was just like, what? He was so fucking confused at how he ended up getting a picture of the quartering instead of Chud Logic. His current only explanation is that he has them mixed up in his head as the same person. And so that's why he just, like, ended up searching the quartering, because he thinks they're the same person, sort of, like, internally in his mind, subconsciously. But yeah, I found... It ended up being perfect, though. I would not change that thumbnail at all.
Was filed by a lawyer. So Dark Viper, who was unhappy with the result of the previous drama, because his DMCA, despite all his claims that he was the expert and knew what he was doing, got knocked back by YouTube twice because he probably didn't fill out the form correctly, hired a lawyer.
So basically everyone's just been dunking on Dark Viper, and Repsion, funny enough, now known as Darth Potato. Yeah, what's that name, dude? This clip is of a particular moment where Dark Viper was doing a live stream with fans. A guy comes into the game that they're playing Among Us, and Dark Viper has a full-blown mental breakdown that this guy failed and caused Dark Viper to lose the game.
Yep.
And Tilo just runs around the entire fucking map to come to O2. And I'm like, I had nothing to say. I was literally speechless. I did not speak that entire...
Listen, raging on a game can be funny, but not when it's directed at somebody in the game that's, like, new to the game, you know? Especially. You know? Like, if it's just like, no, it's over! You know, that's funny. But if it's like, why did you do that? Hey, you, buddy, why'd you do that, you piece of shit? Why'd you fuck up there? I'm new to the game, man. I didn't know what to do. Then why are you fucking playing? Like, you gotta chill out, okay? Like, chill, you know? You can rage, just not towards your friends.
Time, because I was so confused why we were starting the game! I have never been this mad at a person in the entirety of my life!
I apologize. I'm still a little new at the game.
I love his response. I apologize. I'm still a little new at the game. You know, he's just so chill and laid back. Like, I'm sorry, I'm new. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. It's fucking Among Us too, dude. How there's no stakes in Among Us. Like, I can understand getting this mad if someone kills your like level 40, like WoW hardcore character. I would probably rage like this if that happened to me. No lie. I would absolutely rage like this if it happened to me. But, like, it's a game of Among Us, dog. How are you getting, like, scream angry, the maddest you've ever been at somebody for a game of Among Us? So, I know we're kind of, like, lingering on something that seems like it's sort of a meme, but this is more important than it really seems. Dark Viper AU is a genuinely unhinged, mentally unwell individual. More and more of his audience is starting to realize that, with people starting to, like, notice the constant mentions of the fact that he doesn't work out, drinks like 2 liters of soda per week, is not interested in any relationships, friendships, or romantic, has no friends in real life, no social life, does nothing but focus on content, and is, like, clearly not in a mentally healthy place. He never looks like he is healthy when he is on his stream, you know? He's always, like, disheveled and all fucked up, you know? He doesn't look like he showered for a day. And I don't think he has. And people are starting to notice that, like, this is not a mentally well dude. The thing that he is really good at, though, is masking how mentally unwell he is. When he goes from having, like, a meltdown at somebody on Twitter, he can then go make a YouTube video where he's just like, so hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Viper Rambles. So the other day I ran into this really bad faith interlocutor on Twitter. I'm not talking exactly like him, but like he'll be really reasonable and he'll like come up with a lot of ways of post hoc justifying his positions at the time and how angry he got at the time while coming off super cool and chill now. The guy's just genuinely not mentally well and goes from being, like, screaming, unhinged, like, breaking the pretty much broadly agreed upon unspoken rules of YouTube to, like, not abuse its systems to take down people who criticize you, stuff like that, and just going on, like, a crusade against anyone who criticizes him. He's, like, just a morally righteous, mentally unwell, like, weirdo. I'm sorry to say it. I like his GTA stuff too, but what else can I tell you guys, you know?
If you don't even know how to win the game, why are you playing?
I do. I'm just sorry.
That's how you learn.
Now, as you can see there, that is a very, very, very normal reaction to losing a game of Among Us. Now, Dark Viper has been blocking everybody. He's been on a blocking spree ever since the Chud Logic situation happened. But for some reason...
He's gone from constantly arguing with Nicholas Diorio, Turkey Tom, Bo Blacks, like go down the list of like drama YouTubers who've been calling him out. I know that there's a big thing that happened with Carl Jobs we'll be getting to in a moment. He's now gone from arguing with them nonstop 24/7, just like rage tweeting, to blocking them all overnight and anybody who like positively comments about them. So like I guess he just realized that like it's Jover and he's not gonna win the argument against these YouTubers, so he just fucking blocked them instead of like nonstop arguing with them. Like if you go straight from like rage arguing with somebody to immediately blocking them, you're mad. If he just blocked everybody who, like, called him out, that would be understandable, because, like, he just doesn't engage with people, I guess. But, like, this dude went from, like, arguing with them nonstop to blocking them. That is a concession of defeat.
This particular clip got him so pissed, he made a 9-minute response video to everybody laughing at him.
So just before I went...
Whoa, no, I can't go... Oh, okay, listen. His video is prepared. even then, this guy's video might get DMCA down by Dark Viper AU, to be fair. But I'm a live streamer. If his clip plays on my stream, Dark Viper AU will 100% DMCA me, even if it's the same clip, because his justification is that unless it's pre-recorded, pre-scripted, and pre-edited, your content is too lazy to include another person's content without it being not fair use somehow in his magical... He wants to gatekeep being a content creator. He's really mad that, like, streamers can do react content that isn't just outright stealing and doesn't make people upset, and it's, like, an easier way to success online than he had. I think he's just mad, and he's, like, a gatekeeper, and now he's, like, upset that his, like, extremely radically anti-react content positions aren't as popular as he wants them to be.
To you. But now that you invoke the Streisand effect, striking Chud Logic's channel, falsely, I might add, in my opinion, now everyone's digging through everything and seeing how much of a spurg you are, how much of a complete lolcow you are, in the funniest ways possible. That clip, doesn't matter how old it is, it's really, really funny to laugh at you. And the fact that you made a 9-minute response video to this is insane to me.
Yeah, it was not a very nice clip. But as I say down here, this was 4 years ago. I was going through some personal stuff, like a lot of
people really need, like, online content creators really need to learn how to, like, ignore people shit-talking them if it's not serious allegations, you know? Like, there was a recent video put out about me. I forget what the channel's name is. One of you guys might know. But it's called, like, Xanderhall is not what he seems or something. And then the thumbnail is, like, a silhouette of, like, a guy with, like, a steak knife about to stab somebody. And it's like, is he nice? Is the text in the thumbnail. And I remember seeing that thumbnail and title, and I just, like, laughed. And was like, this kind of makes me look cool. Like, low-key, this kind of makes me look cool. And I just went on with my day. People have asked me to cover... Not What He Seems, I think is what it is, or something along those lines. I don't know what the exact title is. But people have asked me to cover it, but I'm not going to cover it, because giving that kind of stuff attention is what those types of figures want. Initially... had Dark Viper AU never responded to the people that were calling him out, and he just kept on his grind, nobody would really have anything to go off of, especially if he didn't engage in, like, false legal action against Chud Logic. Nobody would have anything to use against him. He'd have his massive army of fans still backing him. But now he's starting to really lose support even among his own fans for this.
personal stuff. Just got diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease.
I don't think... Listen, I don't care what disease you have. You have severe autism is what we have here, guys. We have...
Yeah, definitely. I think he's admitted to such. And I don't think that's really relevant, but, I mean, the guy definitely does not behave normally. He doesn't conduct himself appropriately, if I do say so myself. The last bit I wanted to show you guys is the tweet. The tweet. This was in response to one of Nicholas Diorio's tweets about Dark Viper AU now hiring a lawyer to try and fuck with Chud Logic's channel, because Chud Logic criticized him. And Carl Jobs, who follows me, by the way, quote tweeted that tweet and said, "I have known Dark Viper AU since 2018, when we were both small streamers trying to grow. Over the years, I believed we had become friends. I respected him, met him multiple times in person. I specifically brought my wife to a creator party because I wanted her to meet him. I valued him as a person. Recently, without notice and without warning, he banned me and removed me from all socials. This hurt me deeply. I reached out to ask why, and he never even bothered to reply and let me know what I had done. Dark Viper will spend his days arguing with random haters online, but when it comes to someone who cared about him and just wanted to know what I had done to hurt him, he could not care less. At this point, I don't care to know what his grievance is, but I do know that what he did to me was a terrible thing to do, and my opinion of him could not be lower." So Carl Jobs eventually ended up tweeting another tweet where he came out with, like, the reason why and managed to, like, line up the time span. Carl Jobs had taken a sponsorship from Asmongold's company for a video. Mind you, like, Carl has to pay for, like, I think cancer treatment, and has kids and, like, a family just broadly to raise, bills to pay, that kind of stuff. So, like, we're not talking like someone who's just some bachelor making that easy YouTube money and saving up. We're talking someone who can use a few $100 to $1,000 extra a month. You know, it's not going to be going into a pit of savings for sure. So like, apparently Dark Viper AU like cut ties and burned the bridge with Carl Jobst over that, because Dark Viper AU despises Asmongold, which, you know, fair enough. I have my own reasons for having my problems with Asmongold, but I don't despise him. And the reason why Dark Viper AU hates Asmongold is just, like, insane. Genuinely insane. The reason why, the entire thing that started this, by the way, the reason at least I criticized Dark Viper AU early on, was because Dark Viper AU made a video calling out Asmongold as a content thief for reacting to the whole of someone's Dark Souls 1 speedrun where they take no hits from enemies. And, like, he goes on about how this is content theft, but meanwhile, the streamer who did the speedrun gave Asmongold permission and is the top comment on the video thanking Asmongold for reacting to the VOD. And I point out as much. That was my introduction to Dark Viper AU and my calling him out. This took like 2 minutes, and he ended up making a response video on me where he completely misrepresents me and then sent his entire audience to raid my channel. So, not a big fan of the guy. Outside of his GTA stuff, not a big fan. It seems like he's just not a really good guy, and he's just kind of built a cult of personality, and he's using it as a shield and as a weapon as well, both shield and sword. Anyway, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of this, because if this Dark Viper AU guy had his way, then even my videos dunking on PragerU, Blair White, Matt Walsh, etc. would be banned from YouTube, and I'd be stricken off the platform in a day for it, because in his view, any live response content is not transformative because it is live and thus lazy. You can kind of work with that logic in your head with, like, does that make sense? Do you agree with that? I'm curious what you guys think in the comments. Regardless, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like. It really means a lot, whether you're watching this live as a VOD or when this goes up as its own video on YouTube. If you want to, you can subscribe and ring the bell icon to make sure YouTube tells you when I upload and go live and do all sorts of stuff on YouTube. Otherwise, they will not tell you. And of course, if you want to support me financially, please consider doing so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buying merch through Streamlabs, link down below. You can also join my Discord server where we do constant events and watch parties. It's a really fun time. I do call-in streams, all that good stuff, so consider joining if you haven't already. With all that said, hopefully you enjoyed.